Okay, here's something I want to just talk about because a lot of students ask me about how to practice and divide up your time so that you practice, and get the most out of your practice time. Not everyone has 9 hours and not everyone can concentrate for longer than half an hour. So it all depends on how much time you want to put into your practice and what your goals are. But there's kind of two paths you can take. Something that I used to do when I was studying music, I had kind of a super regimented practice routine. So I would divide my time up into like sight reading, theory, timing, scales, triads, arpeggios, bass lines, soloing on chord changes. Eventually I ended up with 900 headings, and underneath each heading was very specific exercises like D major 7 in 3 positions, starting on the middle finger, 2 plucks per string at 90 beats per minute. I mean, I was like putting everything under the microscope and getting hyper detailed. But the problem is that that's not the kind of person that I am. I'm way more of like a bit of a beach bum freebird. So I did that for maybe 2 years, and ultimately I burnt out because music starts to become like a desk job. You're like, I have to do this for this long at this time. You're kind of like a factory worker clocking in and out. So you might get really good at certain things faster than if you kind of just were loosey-goosey with it. But ultimately, in the long run, you might lose your love for music. And then that, to me, isn't a good practice plan. And so what do I think you should do? Well, first off, maybe you're someone who is looking to turn music into something like a regimented study office job, because you could be just that kind of musician, and in that case you could go down that path. But I'm here to maybe talk to those of you who are not so much like that. And so what I did was, and what I do with my students and what I'm suggesting you try, is to focus on 3 things, either in one practice session or break it up into 3, depending on, how your day is. And those 3 things are fundamentals, bass playing, and melodies and motifs. So now I will just say what those things are. Obviously you have 3 things. Depending on how much time you have, you can break them up into different times, 20 minutes this, 20 minutes that, 20 minutes that, if you have an hour. If you have 3 hours, you think you can do 3 hours a day, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. If you decide this is more important than that, 20 minutes of that, 10 minutes of that, 10 minutes of that. But check it out. So the 3 things are: fundamentals is first. Fundamentals is just building blocks of music. So scales, triads, arpeggios, 7th chords. So let's say if you are someone who's checked out my bass fundamentals course, then we do kind of things like this. Here is B flat major 7, and I like to teach spread voicings, not always just these kind of root position shapes. So we would go, that's shape 1, okay? Then next would be here, and you would play, and next here, and then here. So I might just spend that first half going, I'm gonna just play this, and just like really get those shapes down. That would be like fundamental bass practice. I'm learning an arpeggio in an inversion across the bass, okay? Start off out of time, build up to playing it in time, build up to using it in a creative way. So I'm now trying to make music with it. That's part 1 of practicing. Part 2 is bass playing. So I would pick a bass line I love to listen to, and something that is going to reflect the style of bass playing that I want to play. If I'm not interested in reggae, and I never want to play reggae, and I don't like reggae music, at this point in my life, I have no interest then in pursuing that. I want to pick bass lines that I love the sound of, and that I want to ingrain into my playing. So let's say I take a bass line by Leon Silvers. And so yes, I would kind of get a metronome going, and I would just play a bass line, figure it out with my own ears, that's part of this, and then I would just take that one cell, not the whole song. So I would just play forever. All I'm doing there is I'm taking a bass line I love and I'm playing it at a comfortable speed, and I'm just trying to nail that dynamic, that time feel, the pocket, note length, whether notes are muted. I'm trying to really capture the accent of whoever's playing I love, okay? This is bass playing 101, because all music, 99% of bass playing is taking a cell and repeating it. You can think of any style of music, no matter what it is. Generally, as bassists and drummers and guitarists, we take a riff or a groove or a cell and we repeat it. You've got to be able to do that incredibly well. So this is like, you got to do this, you know. Shout out to Stevens the Cat for joining us. The third thing is a motif or melodic fragment. So if you're someone who wants to learn to get better at playing fills or playing melodies on the bass or soloing, this is where you figure out a melody from another instrument. Vocalist, sax player, guitar, piano player. So let's say we took that sax line that Jacko played from Donnelly. What I would do there is I would analyze that line. I would go, 7, 8, 7, 6, flat 6, 5. Oh, how can I play that same blueprint on A flat minor 7? Okay. Oh, if I lower the 7th, it works. Whoa, what if I play it, okay, off of, it's on A flat, but I'm gonna play it off of this part of the A flat minor scale. So there I'm going 9, flat 3, 9, and walking down root 7, flat 7. Same phrase, but using it in a different part of the chord. So essentially what I do there is I take a motif and I try to get as much out of it as I can. I put it on every chord type and I alter one note at a time, and I put it in different positions on different chords because I want it to become part of my vocabulary. And you can do that with something like that. It could be a fill, you know, if you've learned any sort of fill or melodic idea, learn a melody from a song, but try to be able to play it on different chord types in different keys. So there's only 3 things here. Fundamentals, which is, you know, building blocks of music, a bass line that you love on a loop for 10-15 minutes, nailing it, nailing the feel, making it feel so good by yourself. And 3, developing a motif or taking a motif and being able to take the blueprint to as many chord types as you can think of in as many different places as you can. So just 3 things to practice. So let me know what you think about that. If you want to ever study with me, just DM me, or if you want my bass fundamentals course, message me on Instagram, Celebrity Pedals. Bye.